Hey guys, welcome back to another art video. So first of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for 100 plus subscribers. It means a lot to me, and as promised, I'm gonna do my pastel portrait raffle, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the rules of the raffle towards the end of the video. So this video is part 2 of my Speckletone series. I'm working on Starch Vine, Starch Cloud, and True White. Starch Vine has a green tone to it, and Starch Cloud has a blue tone, and True White just looks like regular white paper with speckles. And Starch Vine and Starch Cloud aren't available from the Speckletone French company anymore. Those were the two tones that they took out. In my previous video, I mentioned that there was 2 finishes to the paper, and both Starch Vine and Starch Cloud had the original vellum finish, which I'm not too crazy about. A lot of markers fall short in showing like the true color on the paper, so also it has some blending complications as well. So I took out my flex markers and I started using that because I didn't want any kind of speckly texture on the paper anymore. I was having that problem in my previous video, so I learned from my mistake. And the character I'm drawing, her name is Crazire. I never really mentioned her name before. You need to say it with an Arabic accent to get it right. And I was thinking if I ever make an animated series of this story I have in mind, then I would make almost all the characters mispronounce her name, and then there's that one special character that knows how to pronounce her name correctly. So I was thinking I would do something like that. Alright, so the first one is the Starch Vine paper. It was the green tone, and I just decided to draw her relaxing near a waterfall. So it's very straightforward. There's nothing that complicated or new about like what I was coloring about it. The second one, she's actually submerged in water and she's fighting a race called the Naga, which was specifically a race that was created by Warcraft. I've never seen Naga in any other war fighting game, so they're like fish, mermaid, half human, half like marine type creatures. But they're definitely like a very interesting race, and I wanted to include that in the series. So she is fighting them. Like, I drew her kind of swimming away. I actually never learned how to swim, so I don't know if the position she's in is an actual swimming pose, but I just tried to wing it. And I didn't manage to record how I did the bubbles, but it was actually really fun. So what I did was I took my Sakura white jelly roll pen, and as soon as I laid the ink on the paper, it's still a little wet. So I grabbed my paintbrush and I sort of brushed it over the white ink from the gel pen, and it sort of softened out the white color to make it like a sort of milky white, and that kind of blended into the background to make it look more like a bubble. And then I took a light pink and light green water-based marker. I used my Zig Art and Graphic twin markers, and I just lightly brushed it over the white ink to give it a slight pink and green glow, and that made it look really realistic. So, but I kind of prevented myself from making too many bubbles because it was starting to look more kawaii than serious, and it's supposed to be a serious scene. And yeah, I had a bit of trouble trying to color in the water. I looked at some reference photos and I tried to copy like the texture that the reference photos were showing, and it's much harder to color water with markers than it would to be with like something a little lighter like paint. But I did keep going back and forth between my like lighter and darker blues to try and get that water sort of look. It took a long time, but I'm pretty sure I got as close as I could get to coloring water with markers. You might notice that her eyes in the water scene look very different from the other scenes, and that's actually like part of the story. It's like an enchanting mechanism that happens to her whenever she's in danger, and I don't want to give too much of the story out, but it is her. It's just her being controlled by a fighter spirit or something like that. So whenever that happens, her eyes start glowing blue, sort of like the night elves do. Like they have in Warcraft, the night elves, they have like either glowing blue or glowing purple eyes. So I decided to go with glowing blue, and that just means that she's being possessed at that certain time. So half of the speed paint recording was recorded in daylight, and the other half was just using my indoor lighting. And I much prefer the daylight lighting because it makes the colors look more real to how I see them in real life. So I'm gonna start trying to get up earlier so I can use the daylight lighting instead of my indoor lighting, just so I can produce higher quality videos. If this is my first video that you're watching and you may be interested in some of these characters, then you can head over to my website and read the first 30 pages of my story if you're interested. And I am still working on this graphic novel. It's just on and off, really slow process. I don't like to stress myself out too much about it since it is stretching out to be more than 100 pages. And the last image is her with the main male character of the story. This doesn't happen until like much later in the story, but I just wanted to practice with proportion because usually when I'm drawing two characters really close together, it's hard to get proportions right and like a positioning of certain limbs and everything. So I kind of wanted to practice that. Also, the background, I was thinking, well, I couldn't decide whether they're on a carriage or a boat, and so I just decided to make the background just like plain sky, so it's oblivious to like where they could be or what they're riding on. So that's that, and I just decided to go with a really cheesy sunset background for the colors of the sky, just to make it extra cheesy. Okay, so now I'm going to start talking about the rules of the raffle I'm going to do. So you can be anywhere around the world to enter this raffle, but it's just a problem with shipping. So if you're located in the United States, I can ship the drawing to you no problem. But if you're elsewhere around the world, I'm going to have to look up how much customs would cost, and if it's a reasonable price, I can cover it, but if it's like over a certain price range, then if you would be willing to pay for the shipping, I can still get it done. Or if you're just okay with the JPEG file, then we don't even need to bother with that. So in a week from posting this video, I will be randomly selecting the winner from my subscriber list just by using like a random number generator. And I will send that subscriber a message, and if I don't receive a reply within 2 days of sending the message, then I'm gonna repick the winner, a new winner, and then do the same process again until I actually receive a reply from somebody. And I'm not gonna announce the winner publicly. I'm just gonna, like, as soon as I get a reply from them and a decent image, I'm just gonna start working on the speed paint, and I'll just post it up on YouTube, and that's how you'll know the winner. So it's the same, I'm gonna use the same materials, just my Roma Fabriano paper and my Rembrandt soft pastels, also my Faber-Castell Pitt pastel pencils to get into the fine details. So any time between now and a week from now, you can still enter the raffle. All you have to do is be a subscriber, because I'm looking at my subscriber list whenever I choose these winners, and then you would be entered into the raffle. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.